Give you an introduction to what programming is all about. So you might be wondering why I have a little maze with two chicken there. The reason is to just explain the concept of programming in a very simple way. Programming is not something hard or difficult or impossible. It is basically helping you use your critical thinking and problem solving skills to make a computer do a set of steps. That is all programming is all about. So for example, this baby chicken has to make all the way to the mommy here. So there are a set of instructions that you have to give this baby chicken, like maybe like how many steps to go and what direction to face, and then what to do when it faces these blocks. So that is basically the concept, right? So let us say this is 10 steps for the chicken to like move here. So the chicken has to like move in this direction, then turn left, and then turn left again after certain steps. Turn left, turn right, turn right, turn left. What is this? So it keeps going on and on and on. And you have to follow these set of steps to be able to reach the mommy here. In some situations, there are more than one possibility for you to take. In this particular situation, there is only one possibility for the chicken to reach its mommy, for the baby chick to reach the mommy. But in the real world, you can solve a problem in a many number of ways. You can, it is similar to, you can take a subway, you can take a bike. It doesn't matter your mode of transportation as long as you reach from point A to point B. That is very similar approach to programming too. So there are some paths that you can take that are very efficient, time tested, and like they are bug proof. And there are some paths that are less traveled on and less experimented upon. So based upon your experience, you will be able to like decide what makes the most sense. So if we were to break down this example, the steps that this little baby took, you can think of it as, we are saying move 10 steps forward, which is an action. And then we are doing it in a sequence, right? So move 10 steps forward, turn left, right? And then move 5 steps forward, for example. If we change any of the sequence of these actions, the baby will not be able to go to the mommy. So not only do we have a set of actions, but there is also a sequence involved to be able to accomplish the task. If we change the action or the sequence, we will not get the result we want. So this is the basis of what programming is all about. So we have a set of sequence. Let me see if I can draw. Sequence and actions, and that is what it is all about. Sequence, okay, I have to write here. Okay, I can't write. Anyways, so it's a set of sequence and actions. And if you change the sequence or the actions, or if you remove any of those, or you don't follow it to the T, the code is not going to work. Another thing I want to talk about is when we write code, we have to take the perspective of the computer and not of the human, okay? What do we want the computer to do? The code is executed by the computer. So the computer is performing the tasks. We as a human, when we test our code, we are called users, okay? When the computer executes the code, the computer isn't the first person. The computer is actually doing it. The computer becomes the chicken here. So the computer is telling the chicken to move 10 steps forwards, take a left, moves 5 steps forwards, take a left, all those instructions. So you have to like keep the perspective that you are writing the code for. You are writing the code from the perspective of the computer, okay, which is very important because when you say like read or write, you have to ask like who is reading and who is writing. So you remember that from the perspective of the computer, the read or the write command gets executed. Okay, so the third thing is the language we use, right? At the base level, the computer only understands ones and zeros. It's binary, right? On, off. Either it's there or not there. With artificial intelligence, we are letting the computer use some kind of logic to create that fuzzy logic in place that humans are so easily used to. You know, we don't have to have all the instructions perfectly black and white. We can use other experiences and learn from those and apply. With a computer, at least at the very basic level, at least for this class, you have to be black and white. And that's very important. The language you use with the computer, even though the computer understands in zeros and ones, we cannot write code in zeros and ones because it becomes really tedious. That is the reason why we are writing code in the language that we are familiar with, which is for the most part is English. So all of our code is written in English. And then the language for the computer, we could use Python, we could use C#, we could use Java, we could write web pages with HTML, we could style those pages with CSS, we could add some actions with JavaScript, so on and so forth. So if you think about the slew of languages that are out there, even though it's overwhelming, and even though each and every language has its own set of syntax, the underlying concept of programming is still based on actions and sequence. Okay. So at the core level of programming, not much changes whether you write code in Java or whether you write code in C#. As long as you know how to break a complex problem into simple sets of actions and sequence, like arrange those actions in a certain sequence, you will be able to write that in any language. Learning the syntax of the language is a totally different thing than learning how to program. So as part of programming, you should know how to break down a complex problem into simple steps. In this example for the maze, we are not like worrying about this entire picture. We are taking one step at a time. We are thinking about this first portion. How do we get this chickadee from this place over to the end? How many steps is that? What happens here? So that is what we are thinking about every single time. What should happen? We are thinking in terms of very simple, tiny steps. And we are breaking this huge problem into multiple steps so we can arrange that in a sequence and reach the end goal. So I really hope that this example helped simplify what programming is all about. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but I'm hoping that we can clarify that as we go. Thank you.